All right, guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to discuss Twitter and explain my current ideas about what I think is the reason certain accounts are going viral on Twitter and certain accounts aren't, current problems with Twitter. They seem to be changing their algorithm. Something I've noticed across all social media pages or social media, is TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, all of them seem to be moving to more safer content, which is maybe kind of the opposite of what I initially thought. I thought maybe there was a chance that TikTok was going to move towards, more sexual content, especially because, a US version got bought, but that seems to be taking a while to materialize. And so maybe next year it happens, and I'm just a little bit early to that trend. So we'll see. But for now, you can only kind of play the cards you're dealt, right? And so I think that being safer across all platforms is a trend that's developing. And I also think that with how things are trending with respect to AI content, it doesn't make any sense to take unnecessary risk because whatever your current model is capable of, it's going to be a million times better soon with the content that our internal team is about to roll out. The tech, etc. It's just all getting completely insane, to be honest. And so I think that there's a big premium to not losing your account, even if your account has slowed down. I think that there's a good chance that it'll pick back up again, which is means that the current value of the page is pretty high. Anyways, let's go into Twitter. So a couple points of note. Content trending safer, deleting of prior virals / prior content, which is flagged as sexual. One day algo, viral trends, not just in girl niche, but across all of X. Quoted tweets, active management. Okay, so this is what we're going to discuss. We already discussed the idea of the content trending safer. Now, we still have accounts, for example, this Leia Yuna account, which is a very good account, posting content that is, more sexual, using certain strategies like this, which has gone viral for them in the past. And posting a lot of these bikini photos, which historically has gotten the account flagged. It seems to work for them. It doesn't work for everyone. I think having the account verified is part of the reason that they're not getting flagged in the same way. I would verify your account if you can afford it. If you can't, we have other pages that are growing pretty large without the verification. But as the main Twitter account for your model, I think it's good for the brand to have the purchased verification. And I think that it could potentially help you gain more virality, especially if you have posts that are, getting more engagement or things that are maybe on the more sexual side. Might be safer, unconfirmed, but I think it's worth considering. So I spoke about this in some of the education on the marketplace, but this idea of sort of deleting prior virals, and that kind of goes hand in hand with the one-day algorithm idea. So on Twitter, it's basically like a one-day algorithm. And if you compare that, like what do I mean by that, right? What goes viral on Twitter is basically like what's happening today. It's meant to be like a news platform. Elon, he's been very vocal about this idea of like hating the mainstream media and calling it out and all of this stuff, right? And I think part of the reason he does that is, A, he believes it to be true. He doesn't like the mainstream media. But B, he's trying to push Twitter as the place that people go for actual, real current events, right? Well, it's not current if it happened a week ago. Nobody cares anymore, right? And the algorithms prove that people's attention spans are really short. Something happens, it goes really viral, and then that thing kind of fades into oblivion, and then the new thing happens, right? And every day something new is happening. The same thing with trends, the same thing with memes, the same thing with viral posts, etc. And Twitter has kind of built it in a way where it's almost unified into one, right? They're trying to draw every angle of their Twitter into this one big main thing that just goes viral, right? And so accounts from all parts of Twitter, they interact with these like big trending viral tweets. They're not necessarily something for the girl space or something for the sports space or the general media space. It's all encompassing, and somehow something goes viral and people jump on top of those trends from every part of Twitter. Okay. That includes the girl space, right? And so in comparison to other platforms, for example, Instagram, you could kind of post a piece of content on Instagram and it could go viral a week later. It could still be going viral 2-3 weeks later. And we have pages. I'm going to upload a new video on an example of one of our creators that had like a $25,000 a week and show how they did it. They went from like 10 to like 100 and something K in like a week in terms of their growth. It's like they have one post that went to 10 million views. and it keeps getting like 500K to a million views per day. It's been going for like a week and a half to 2 weeks now, something like that, right? And so the Instagram algorithm is kind of delayed, right? They're not as worried about current event content. Now, some people do use it for that, but they're not as worried about that. It's not a primary focus. They just want engaging content that people want to watch. And sometimes it takes time for things to go viral, right? You could post something, it takes time for IG to pick up the algo, pick up the content in the algorithm, send it out to people. They have to sort of view it and engage with it and tell Instagram, okay, this is good content. And then eventually Instagram realizes, oh shit, this is viral. Let me push it out to more people. And it's this process that takes time. Whereas on Twitter, it's like they know what goes viral right away, and they incentivize that on the day that it happens, okay? And so if your plan on Twitter is just to kind of dump content and then just let it sit there thinking it's gonna go viral, it's not going to go viral unless it goes viral on the first day, maybe into the second day. Sometimes in very rare situations, it has to be super mega viral into the third day, right? But I would think it's better to just assume that it's just a one-day algorithm. And so you got that one day, and then after that, the content is dead, okay? For example, like he has these posts from October 25th, they have 128K. Now it looks pretty, this 128K, but do you think that this post is bringing them money? The answer is no, it's not bringing them any money, because it's like a month and a half old. Now it looks nice, it's aesthetic. If someone finds the profile and they scroll down, it's good to have some content on there that isn't flagged, but this post is no longer going viral. It has a 0% chance of going viral again, in my opinion, okay? Maybe they could quote a tweet, but that doesn't mean that this post is going viral. The quoted tweet is going viral, right? But it's of this content. But technically speaking, in the eyes of Twitter, the quoted tweet is a brand new piece of content, and we're going to get into that later in the education. So that's a bit about the one-day algorithm. So what does that mean, right? Well, if something goes viral and it has 5 million views, but it gets flagged, that 5 million views is a pretty number. It's pretty to look at, but it doesn't mean jack fucking shit for the performance of your page. So what does that actually mean? You got to remove it from your account. Okay. And so deleting of prior viral / prior content is only when they're flagged as sexual. Now, the way that you figure out if something's flagged as sexual is you simply go to the content, you take the link, the URL, and you copy and paste it into an incognito browser. What is this going to tell you? Well, in an incognito browser, you're not going to have an account. Okay. And when you don't have an account, Twitter assumes that you're underage. And if it assumes you're underage, it doesn't want to show you stuff that is for 18 plus, right? You have to have an account for 18 plus. And so it won't show you content that is age restricted, which is the same thing as like the sexual restriction, right? They're basically saying this is too sexual in our opinion for people who are under the age of 18. And if you don't have an account, we don't know if you're 18 or older. Therefore, we're not going to show you it because we don't want to take the risk, right? They don't want to get sued, whatever the fuck, right? And so if you copy and paste it, you'll be able to find out. If it doesn't show up, that means it's age restricted. It's impacting your account. You might not know it, but it is. Now, Twitter doesn't have a flagging system. On Instagram, on Facebook, on TikTok, they have their flagging system, which makes it a lot easier to understand if things are flagged or not. But, Twitter doesn't have that. And so you got to kind of do it manually yourself. We are working on a bot as like a secondary product, but to be honest, like we're just so busy with development right now with other more important things. We'll get to it eventually, and we'll provide that as a service for people. In the meantime, just do it manually. It doesn't need to be every day, but I would say a couple times a week, you want to kind of skim through your accounts. This is a VA task. You could hire a VA and say, hey, go skim it. I'll pay you $5 per account per week. Go skim it for me twice per week and check. The problem is that you have to trust the VA is actually doing it properly because it can negatively impact your account. It doesn't mean that you kind of won't go viral, right? It doesn't mean that if a content gets age restricted right away, it won't go viral. We've seen it happen on occasion, but generally speaking, the way that I like to look at things is I like to play the numbers game, Is this more likely to happen or less likely to happen? If I got a bunch of age restricted shit, am I more or less likely to go viral? The answer, in my opinion, is less likely. And so it makes sense to delete it, especially because it has no positive impact on your account, right? On Instagram, if you have something that's maybe on the more sexual side, but it's going viral, then theoretically, it could significantly help your account. And so the risk reward might be there to leave it going and let it go viral until Instagram flags you. Now, the risk would be that they don't flag you and they just nuke your whole page and then you're fucked, right? But at least there's a potential reward. On Twitter, once the content goes viral, there's no more reward, right? So deleting of content is very important. One-day algo, very important. Now, how do you take advantage of the one-day algorithm? Do you just post hot photos? Now, that is a strategy. And generally speaking, like the simple way to go viral on Twitter is not to actually worry is not to actually worry too much about Twitter, but it's to worry about the other socials and dump traffic to Twitter while still facilitating high quality content, right? The number one most important thing by far is still the content, okay? So the quality of the photos that you portray on the social media platform will determine if you go viral. You can post videos as well. Both of them go viral on Twitter. I recommend posting both. I think safe content is key. I would not post anything with their, the behind content, the ass content. Cleavage in some situations can be okay, but I think making the model look attractive and real is more important than making her look like super over the top hot. And I think that there's a distinction between those two things. And so content is by far most important. Now, one avenue you can have is to, for example, run a TikTok, Facebook, IG, threads type setup. And then in the tap for all my links, like in the landing page on those social medias, you have the Twitter account, right? And so you utilize the landing page with geo-blocking to dump premium audience traffic to the X account. And then on the X, you run a very simple strategy. You post, 1 to 3 times per day, mix of photos / videos, simple engagement farming captions, which we'll get into. And you don't stress about it, and you don't stress, right? And you run maybe 1, maybe 2 Twitters, and that's it. Now, over time, as you grow your organic reach on these other social medias, traffic will move over to the Twitter account, and it'll just gain a lot of steam over time, and then you'll eventually have like 200 or 300K. For example, like Sophie Rain, she's done that. And we'll go into her Twitter and about what she's actually doing now, but she has so much other traffic on these other socials, it just ends up funneling over to Twitter. So even if she did nothing else, her Twitter would still grow. And I know a lot of people that kind of have that system set up where they kind of focus on the other social medias and then Twitter is like a secondary thing. It still brings in traffic, but it's not like a major traffic source for them. It's a secondary traffic source. A lot of my pages do that. There's nothing wrong with that strategy. Now, if you want to make more from it, there's a fuck ton of money to be made, but it requires more effort, as always the case, okay? What does that look like, right? This is what it looks like. This is how you actually make more money. Now, you should still do these things, okay? Having this set up properly is extremely important. Why is it extremely important? Because you're missing out on traffic, right? And so as a secondary point, before we get into Twitter, we can just discuss landing pages. If you go look at like any creator in the OF space and you just like sampled like 100 accounts and checked their landing page, maybe like 5% would do this properly. Maybe. That might be generous, to be honest. Most people significantly undervalue this idea of traffic moving around to all these different social medias and spreading it across your brand, right? They just think, okay, I generate traffic on a social media, for example, Instagram or whatever. I'm going to move it over to the premium account to try to monetize that traffic. That's fine. You can do that and you should do that, right? But you should also send it to other social medias to continue to scale your brand, right? This idea of virality, like why is Sophie Rain viral? The reason that she's viral is because she has people following her on every single platform and they see her every fucking day, okay? No matter where you go, whether it's TikTok or Facebook or Instagram or Threads or Twitter or wherever, you are gonna see Sophie Rain because she's viral, meaning she's gonna be in your head. Okay, whether you follow the brand or not, you've probably seen her before and you've seen her many times. And eventually what happens is that interest peaks and you go subscribe and you monetize. Okay, you follow the brand, you monetize. If a guy comes into your Instagram and he clicks on your landing page and the only thing is there is the fan place, if he just clicks off the fan place and decides not to subscribe, he might not follow you on Instagram. And that might be the only platform that he has the potential to see you. But if he would have moved to the Twitter, he might have followed you there, but, oh, damn, she has a Twitter. She's a real creator. She's real. Oh, shit, she has a TikTok. She's real. Oh, shit, she has a Facebook. She's real. Damn, let me follow. Damn, this girl's real. I just went and inspected. Now I'm going to go subscribe. Or let me follow her. This girl is interesting to me. Okay, I'll subscribe in the future. That's kind of the idea, okay? If you're missing that, you're missing out on crazy money over the long term, right? Because that brand scales fast over time, and now you have all the socials working together, dumping traffic together, and that's how you build the relationships with the potential subscribers, which leads to them spending way more money, okay? It's by building that relationship over time through the social medias, and people often think the social medias are only for reaching new people. It's not. It's also for keeping the current people engaged, right? If you have 1,000 guys that are in love with your creator, and they're on your FanPlace account, and they're renewing, that's $20,000 a month in renewals. If they buy one mass message, that's another 20K. So you got 40K in revenue right there just by keeping those guys engaged. You can keep them engaged on the fan place and the socials, right? So landing page, no matter what is important, that's some, side point on that. Let's go back into the viral trends. So let's go over Sophie Rain, for example. She's the biggest creator, so we should obviously, clearly she knows what she's doing. There's a few things she does. Number one, she's got this banner up. This account I like because they're kind of copying the banner. You know what I mean? It's like a similar idea. I kind of like this, simple landing page solution. By the way, if you go to Sophie Rain's link.me, guess what she has? All her socials there. What are the odds? Because she knows what she's doing. So she's got her OF as the primary thing, but she has all these other socials there. She's like, hey, follow my Instagram, my Twitter, my Snap, my TikTok. I'm there. She doesn't have Facebook, it seems, which is crazy, but not the point. And it's like, guys do that, and then they see her all over the place, and they're like, damn, I keep seeing this girl. I got to go see what's going on. I got to see for myself. They sub, they monetize. That's her business model, She keeps doing it over and over again. This is what you guys should do, right? The landing page you use doesn't matter, right? You can use my landing page, and it's the exact same thing, in my opinion. There's no difference. This one's location blocked for me right now, but don't worry about that. And so it's like, the landing page doesn't matter nearly as much as people think. We've tested the link.me. They're fine, but they don't convert nearly as well. The main point to take away from this is that the idea of having all your socials there, it's not me magically thinking of this. It's like it's the proven strategy. The number one girl in the whole world, she fucking uses it. So if you don't use it, you probably should reconsider what you're doing, because you're probably not doing what you should be. Anyways, let's go back to her page. Couple things. Number one, she switches her pin content. She switches it consistently. Okay. If you look at what this pinned content is, there's a lot of stuff going on here that people are not going to consider. The first thing is that it happened on December 2nd. So she recently pinned this because it started going viral. When you pin something, it's more likely to pick up. Why? Because all your other content, your socials, etc., are driving guys to your Twitter every single day, right? If you have a viral piece of content that performs really well as your pin, it's more likely to pick up steam, right? So even though things mostly dissipate in one day, maybe you get that second, third day, and it could really send and become very viral. And there's a lot of money to be made when things go very viral. That's number one. Number two, right? Quoted tweets. A quoted tweet, in the eyes of Twitter, is a brand new tweet. Meaning, if you had a viral piece of content that got like 1 million views, and now it's 3 days later, a week, 2 weeks, a month later, whatever it is, it's dead now. But it went viral already. You can quote that tweet, and people will see the viral content with your quoted tweet, and Twitter will view it as a brand new piece of content. Meaning you could just do that all the time with your proven virals, and they might just keep going viral, right? Now, what you could also do is you could engage with what's going viral on Twitter, and that's what the biggest girls are doing. So Sophie Rain here, there's just this random post by this girl who has nothing to do with Sophie Rain. It's like some random girl or account or whatever trying to get engagement, and they somehow got 56 million views on this post. Now, look at the date, November 27th. So this went turbo viral, so it even extended the 3-day timeline that I gave. It went down to like 4 or 5 days. But look what Sophie Rain did. She knew that this was viral, right? And she quoted it with a nice photo herself, which shape in my honest answers only. So she picked up on the viral trend. She added on her own post to it, and Twitter said, oh shit, you're part of what's trending now. Let me push you out. Because people are liking this, they're engaging. They know that this content that she engaged with is viral, and they want more people to see it because it's proven to do well, so they push you out. You can't do this if you're just sitting there posting random content every day and you're not actually following what's going on Twitter, right? Part of being a social media manager is knowing what the fuck is going viral every day, because virality is the name of the game, right? Your whole goal is to go viral. So if you're not paying attention to that, then you're just missing out on huge amounts of opportunity. Now, did I press people to do this when I first made all the education talking about Twitter? No. Why? Because I want it to be easier for people to set up and not feel stressed to do this stuff. That's number one. Number two, Twitter has kind of changed recently as well. So second thing she's doing, she purchases this ad. This is purchased, okay? So this page is like owned by some guy. Maybe it's owned by her, I don't know. And she paid to have this up there, okay? In my opinion, back in the day, right? Now, why did she quote it? Because it went viral, And so it's like, instead of her posting it, she just made the quote. Boom. It just sent 400K. Nice photo. Another quoted tweet, 2.8 million views, again, of Sophie Rain. So what does she do? She quotes it. She's not even posting. Here's a video. Look how often she's posting as well. Oh, look at this. Another quoted tweet. What are the odds? So this one went viral, got 2.6 million. And so what did she do? She quoted it and she tried to ride it again. So she got the 2.6, and then she got another 280K out of this, which also pushed this one even more. Random text post, which is also performing very well for her. If you look at this, again, this is just another account that is just like basically like sponsored post, in my opinion. 1 million views. So what does she do? She quotes it, gets another million. She didn't even post this. She just quoted this nonsense, whatever. It's like just her manager doing this, not her, obviously. Another one. The same exact thing. Why? Because it went viral back in the day on this page. So she's using it again. If you notice, she keeps doing the same bookmark thing because clearly it keeps working. Oh, here's another one. Look at this. Look at this. So this is like some meme account, whatever, right? It's just a meme account of something, whatever the fuck, like it is what it is. And then they posted this and it got 22 million views somehow back in February of 2025. So that was at the beginning of the year. Now, maybe it kept going viral or whatever it is. Maybe like people keep using it, but clearly there's something to this because big accounts are engaging with it. OX Desi it's a big account. I know who they are. Like they're big creators, right? So clearly this post must have somehow gone viral again for whatever reason. And she engages with it. Show me someone that looks good in black. So she just gets a simple black image. We have AI. We can make infinity content. Just get a fucking black image and post this, right? The only way you can do this is if you're following the big creators and understanding what's going viral day to day, right? And so notice when I post in the Telegram about viral content ideas, I show all these big creators. I'm like, hey, you guys should follow these creators and see what they're doing. Twitter works the same way. You notice the trend? They all work the same way. You follow the big creators, you see what's trending and going viral, you recreate it with your account, you pick up on those trends, you're gonna get some virals, pick up the steam, and then once you're big enough, everything you do goes viral, okay? If you notice, she keeps doing the same thing over and over again. This is paid for, right? This is paid advertising, 100%. This is paid advertising. Paid advertising, more, this is her one from the Bob House. Another one that she's quoting because this went viral. You see, they're always virals that they're quoting. It's never non-viral. So if it's not viral, don't fucking touch it. You only want to touch stuff that's viral. This was paid and now she's reusing it again. If you notice, her entire page is just this. Now, she does post occasionally content. Here's her and Aisha. So she does occasionally post content, but you notice, so like let's compare this to one of our AI accounts. So here, there's very few quoted tweets of anything, right? This might have been a trend, which they did, which was nice. I really like that they add this like, basically like engagement, which sends to the link. I think that's really good. I would do that, to be honest, if I were you guys. And I would try to post that, soonish after you make the content, because a lot of guys are gonna be commenting and they're gonna see it, and you can use that as a funnel to your Cupid bot and all of these things. It could do quite well. Notice there's no quoted tweets. They're completely missing the plot here. So they're posting great content and it's going viral organically, but what goes viral on the actual home feed is not that much of this girl content because Twitter knows nobody really cares about that. What Twitter wants is they want you engaging with what's going viral day to day, and they want your personality, and you being a hot girl is just a function of those two other things, right? You engage, you have a cool personality, and you're a hot fucking girl. And then guys are like, holy shit, she's the perfect whatever, right? That's what Sophie is doing perfectly with her Twitter manager. Obviously, they're pros. They know exactly what they're doing. Now, they add other things into their business. They're buying ads, and she's replying to the ads, and she's getting... Again, what's virality? It's about being in the minds of your audience on every single platform. Why do you think they're purchasing ads like this on Twitter? Because it keeps going out and people keep seeing her over and over again, and then she engages with it, and then guys see it again, and they're like, who the fuck is this girl? I need to know who Sophie Rain is. I need to see her content, and they go purchase her content. That's how it works, okay? Her managers are very fucking smart. They know exactly how social media works, so why wouldn't we just do the exact same thing? We have infinity Sophie Rains. We have infinity of every type of creator type. So there's obviously a market for your creators out there. You just need to get them in the eyes and in the minds of your audience, right? So if you're just posting this content, it can work and guys will come in, but the idea of getting this viral every single time, it's way harder to do. But if you go and engage with this content, which is also why I told people to do the commenting thing, you're more likely to be seen, okay? Active management, quoted tweets, engaging with viral trends, not just in the girl niche, but in all niches, the girl niche as well, of course, right? How do you find this? You track and follow proven viral creators. You're active day to day on Twitter, and you're posting content that is custom made for those exact situations. Okay. You can't do this with a VA, right? You got to learn how to do it yourself. Maybe you can afterwards when you become the master and you teach the VA. So I think the wrong thing to do is say, oh, well, let me just get a VA and I'll just pay them $80 a week and they'll just do this. They will fuck it up. Okay. They will 100% fuck it up. If you become the master first and then you teach them how to do it, maybe then they can do this. But this isn't something that is necessarily perfectly systemized, right? It requires creation, okay? Creativity, being in the moment, having the feel for what's going on, right? Now, it is a system for how you can go viral, but the actual tweets, I can't give you them. I can't be perfect at that. It requires your creativity to go in the weeds and practice. How do you learn about that, though? How do you learn about what might be a good thing to do? You consume the content. You consume the content, okay? That is the number one most important thing. How the fuck do you learn how to become a creator? How do you learn anything? It takes practice. Well, the whole fucking internet exists for you to go learn and see what's going on every day and consume the content. There's infinity content posting 24/7, 365. So it's in the palm of your hands for you to go learn how all of these things work and get inspiration and then use that inspiration for your own model. Requires effort, though. So that's a little bit about Twitter. I hope this video helps. I feel like I spilled crazy sauce in this video. If you made it this far and you want to get a model, they're 100% free. Go to the link in description, aicreatormarketplace.com. If you're skeptical, we have a Telegram community link you can join. There's literally almost 5,000 people in it now, running creators. We just had someone post a $25,000 a week, which is incredible. I'm so proud of that person. And I actually did an interview with them. You can go check out that interview where I interviewed the Filipino, and that's Divino, and he just had a $25,000 a week. And so it's completely free. You get a free AI creator, all my education from me and people in my community, again, completely for free. And then we basically just teach you how to run a successful brand, give you all kinds of tools, SaaS products, etc. We give you the creator as well. And then what we take is we just take like a cut. And so, you know, we end up taking 75%, or sorry, you get 75% of the net profits. We keep 25%. And so pretty good split in my opinion. The platform takes 20, similar to OF. We have our own platform. And then basically you end up getting 60 out of the remaining 80, which is 75% of the net profits. My business keeps 20 for what we provide. I think it's very fair. If it's not for you, then no worries. You don't have to do it. But again, really good opportunity to make money on the internet. It's completely real. There is no secret finesse, anything. Go choose a creator. You have to apply. You have to verify your ID, be 18 or older. It's all legit, everything. And we do bank and crypto payouts as well. So I'll leave the video there. Please subscribe, like, comment, share, etc. Appreciate it a lot, guys. Thank you. Bye-bye.